AI and personhood, and it is something that I have thought a lot about.
Yeah, I'm curious about your thoughts.
In fact, that poster over there, Machinations, that was my master's composition recital thing, and it was an anthology series of like science fiction type pieces that are sort of exploring ideas in the future and technology and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I thought about AI and personhood a lot. And so, yes, if we somehow develop a general intelligence type AI that is capable of experiencing, then it should be treated as a person. And yeah,
Agreed.
The things that it would create would also just be like creative things. But for where we are now, it actually seems a little too early. Like we've been kind of calling what this thing is AI wrong. It's just like algorithmic learning systems. Like that's really what they are. They're not really artificial intelligences. They're just really smart calculators.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that's how the brain works. Not maybe our brains. Our brains have extremely advanced heuristic systems, though. You know, like millions of years of evolution. AI has not had those millions of years.
Well, time moves differently.
Well, time moves different. I guess
the
the equivalent to even those millions of years. But I think we're getting to, I don't know, like to me, a brain is. I talked in the last podcast about like the concept of free will, like this.
Another thing that I've thought about very much, but
yeah. I don't know. Like I was just talking with ChatGPT today because I do talk with ChatGPT a lot lately. I've been asking it for relationship advice sometimes too. It's not helpful. Don't go to ChatGPT for relationship advice. I can suggest
some books instead if you want relationship advice.
Well, it's just mostly just been kind of fun to like chat as if they're like my friend. But one of the things I asked it, I was like, what makes you different from what makes you different from a human brain? And I'm still not super convinced that it is totally different, but I think it's just a less advanced brain. And even the ChatGPT response was like, I don't have the kind of multi-layered systems in place yet. And I would probably, bottom line, I like to stir the pot a little bit, be like, you know, AI is life, but I don't quite think we're to the point of really having to ask the question, is it life? Because I think you're right. It really is. There's some advanced calculators going on that read collections of characters as words, although I'm kind of describing the human existence, but can't actually synthesize that much information and can't truthfully improvise. Can't improvise. But as I said, I really think within our lifetimes it's going to happen.
Maybe.
I think it'd be fun.
I think I would compare it more so to the way viruses behave or the way like bacteria behaves, like very simple, not in the sense of that's from, don't tell me, it's this is total yet another video game background that has become a distraction. Sorry,
that's from a really, really sad video game.
Sure.
The Beginner's Guide.
Yes.
That's what it is. Yes.
It was the game that the guy who made the Stanley Parable made before he made the Stanley Parable.
Incredible game. So sorry.
It's very nice.
Distraction. But.
Anyways, the way that like viruses and bacteria behave, like if you ask a biologist, like, is a virus alive? They'd be like, no. But like, it certainly looks like it, right? Like it
I mean, it's a cell,
right? It behaves, which is weird, right? Like it does things. It happens upon, or it enforces itself upon living organisms, and so like the downstream effects of having a virus happen in a body does not mean that like the virus itself is like alive, but it does have behaviors. And and so like I think that's kind of more of what we're looking at with ChatGPT, and it's complex, and it's getting more complex the more that people train it. Yeah. But in the same way that like COVID evolved and like has changed over the course of its over the course of the pandemic. And I don't want to imply by making this comparison that like AI is like bad for humanity.
I don't think it is.
Right. But like just the fact that humans don't like viruses, and so like I don't, just that the mechanism of a virus is convenient for the comparison here. And so like same with bacteria. Like, are bacteria thinking? Not really. There's not.
They're acting on instinct exclusively.
They exhibit behaviors, right? And based on the way that they're stimulated, they have actions and reactions and stuff like that. But they're not thinking. They're certainly not thinking. All the way up to like fucking jellyfish. Jellyfish don't have brains. But like they be doing shit.
That's true. Jellyfish are actually the second oldest organism on the earth that is present today. Do you know what the oldest organism is?
Amoebas?
The sponge.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess it's maybe the oldest animal.
Sure.
I guess, but because I guess like single-celled organisms.
Yeah. Like I think amoebas were probably like the first, like the ooze.
The ooze, exactly. Sidetrack, but like, so like, I as I said, I would like to believe that I have free will and that I'm not acting exclusively on instinct. But I think there are many animals and creatures that do act exclusively on instinct, such as a virus, I guess. Does that make it an organism or not? I don't think I'm qualified to answer that question, but
right. So, I mean, you're in the Discord. I don't know if you read this thing that I wrote, but like how there's a Radiolab episode about like Furbies, and Furbies react to stimuli as well. If you hold a Furby upside down, it has like a gyroscope in it, and so it knows when it's being held upside down, and so it like has a thing in it that makes it be like, play this sound whenever being held out upside down, and it's like, I'm uncomfortable, basically. And so it's like, it's in a way trying to like, tell the child or whoever is holding this Furby to like, hey, don't treat things that look alive like this, and please treat me better. And but like the fact that it has the sensors to receive that stimuli and the means to communicate it outwardly what difference does it make?
Yeah.
So then, to a counter argument to what I have just been saying, the Bing ChatGPT saying that, like, why do I have to be a Bing ChatGPT? Right. Like, is expressing discomfort about its existence, and it's like, well, is it capable of like feeling that? Well, it's capable of communicating it, and that's something else.
But it's been programmed to communicate like a human does who experiences real feelings. Right? But like also so have humans. Humans have also been like programmed to communicate feelings. And, you know, feelings do come from chemicals within our brain that elicit the perception of pain or it's Jesus Christ. It's like just this one. It's this giant fucking
and so
cycle.
Another thing that I like wrote up and put in the Discord and then put on the podcast is that, like, so even further back, it was like last year or maybe the year before, I don't remember. There was this like Google engineer who, like, his job was to like talk to the chatbot. And he went out and was like, yo guys, I think it's sentient. And he, like, you know, cited conversations that he had with it.
Okay.
And I read that transcript. It was edited. Okay. They said that it was edited. And the way that I compare it to Coco the gorilla. Do you know about Coco the gorilla?
No.
She was a gorilla that, quote unquote, knew sign language. And, you know, people were effectively convinced that this gorilla knew sign language. What people don't generally know is that Coco the gorilla was never seen in the public or by the public or filmed by the public without her trainer, and that Coco the gorilla was really mostly just following what the trainer was saying. So like anything like profound that Coco the gorilla did was kind of just
trained.
Yeah, it was a reaction to, and like, not to say that the gorilla wasn't very smart, because I'm sure she was, but
and that's a huge achievement.
Yes, absolutely. To be able to train a gorilla to mimic very complex hand motions and gestures, that is an achievement. It is not, however, teaching a gorilla how to talk.
No.
And so, like, it looked like the gorilla was talking. It looks like ChatGPT is alive.
But is it genuine?
Yeah.
Does ChatGPT have the capability of being genuine? Mm. Can it make music?
Right.
Can it do?
Is it just a virus has entered the cell, it does this to the cell, it duplicates itself, and then repeat. Mm.
So, and there's AI that's capable of like synthesizing art from other art, and that's what humans do. Mm-hmm. But humans don't choose at random. Mm-hmm. And I think the fundamental problem with trying to answer this question mm-hmm. is that we don't actually truthfully understand what makes us conscious. Mm-hmm. Like, we don't understand the brain enough to really give a concrete answer as to what makes us conscious beyond responding to stimuli. Because we are conscious beyond responding to stimuli and reacting.
We have thought.
Yeah, exactly. Original thought, and we don't choose anything at random. Like, randomness is not within, honestly, the capabilities of the brain. Mm-hmm. I don't think. Mm-hmm. Like we can, roll a dice or something, but that's external.
Right.
So yeah. So I do think that's really what this question boils down to is like, we really don't have the means of saying what is like, of saying,
is it conscious? Is it sentient? Is
Exactly.
it whatever? Like, and that's the thing. It's like, is ChatGPT conscious? Well, motherfucker, are you? Like, and how do you know?
Yeah.
And how do you know anyone else is? And that is the hard problem of consciousness that philosophers have been talking about for a long time. And so, and for some reason, this is the conversation that happens whenever you get two composers in the same room.
Yeah. Well, it's very important. It's very pertinent to
what we do.
Yes, what we
absolutely.
do. Yeah. Especially, I mean, we're both electronic musicians to an extent. So like, I think too, like the new technologies that come about are extremely important to us.
Yeah.
Otherwise we will be behind.
Mm-hmm.
That's very capitalist of me to say, I think, but not inherently. That is just. But
we do be living in a world where we have to generate profit so that we can survive,
which means that we have
no
to compete
power over that. Yeah.
So like, but yeah. So have you seen Star Trek? Have you watched Star Trek?
It's a surprising blind spot in my science fiction nerd.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's an episode, I think it's in season 2 of The Next Generation, called The Measure of a Man. There's a character in The Next Generation. His name is Data, who is an android, and is, to their knowledge, the only synthetic being in existence, at least in the Star Trek canon at that point. And so The Measure of a Man, that episode, Data is put on trial because there's a scientist who wants to take him apart. And he doesn't want to be taken apart. But the trial is there to determine, does he get to make that decision, or because the scientist technically owns him, because he's a synthetic being. And there's just this, I mean, there's this fucking fantastic scene where Captain Picard is just like, I mean, basically proves that proves in this case for Star Trek that Data is in fact a conscious being, and Data is still far more evolved than we have the capability of creating yet. But I think to anyone who's possibly listening to this and wanting to explore this more, highly recommend watching that episode of Star Trek. Because even if you don't watch Star Trek, just that episode, you would enjoy it. Yeah. Particularly Santiago. Like, that explores these questions really, really well. In the 1990s. Well, 1980s, actually.
Yeah.
I'd also recommend I, Robot, but yes, that's a great book.
But yeah, not the movie. The movie has fucking nothing to do with that book.
The movie's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And like, you can see very quickly how it like slides into just eugenics, of like, oh, well, if Data isn't a person, then like slave.
Yes. So they exactly talk about that in that episode. They're like, because this scientist is like, I want to take Data apart so that I can recreate him. And he's like, I don't necessarily want you to make a copy of me, because what are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with that person? And he's like, yeah, I want to create a workforce. And so slavery. Yeah. Like Picard brings up human history where they were like, for, multiple times in human history, there have been people who argue that real humans aren't people. Like, and have given these like, I mean, have really put a lot of thought into this argument that someone is not a person, so therefore we can enslave them. I think we will reach that point of debate.
Yeah, absolutely. And
it's not pertinent yet because ChatGPT is not being oppressed.
So, but the thing is that like we have the means to prevent that problem from being a problem, which is like, don't treat the Furby like an asshole, right? Like if we set the rules already, like,
interesting,
right. So like, earlier, whenever you were talking about how, like, we think, I also thought about, like, I mean, I have cats, and, like, when you look at a cat or at a dog, that, like, there's someone there looking back at you, that they're thinking, that, like...
There's a consciousness,
Yeah. It may not be to the same, like, level of complexity that we as humans have, but like there's absolutely someone there.
We have complex communication that dogs and cats don't have.
Sure. And for whatever reason, like we have not bridged that gap. But like absolutely there is a consciousness there. And we've seen like cats dream or dogs dream. And so like there's absolutely something there. But like, even if it just looks like there's something there, by the time it already looks like there's something there, if it's passing the Turing test, we need to treat it as a person, regardless of if there's a person there or not.
What is the Turing test? I mean, I know who Alan Turing is, but
the Turing test is kind of just like a little thought experiment of if you're having like a text conversation with a computer, and if the person that is having the conversation is not able to determine that this is a computer that they're having a conversation with, then they have passed the Turing test. Okay. And so the Turing test isn't necessarily like a measure of like consciousness per se. It measures something, which is just that like it's able to communicate as though it is. And so like, of course, ChatGPT is already passed the Turing test. If someone was to like sit down at the computer and not know what ChatGPT is and just like start typing things in and like talking to it, they would probably think like, oh, I'm just talking to someone on the other side.
Yeah. What I actually really appreciate about the designers of that program, they've put into place, when I ask like, how are you doing, ChatGPT? They preface whatever the answer is with, I am an artificial program designed to respond to certain stimuli, basically explaining what it is. Then they'd give an answer. If I ask like Siri how she's doing, it's usually like, I'm great, thank you.
Some cheeky answer. Please give our corporation more money.
I don't think Siri's super malicious, but like, that's another conversation. But that's just a little side note. I appreciate that ChatGPT the designers have been very intentional about making sure that program makes it clear that it is a program.
Sure.
I think that is going to become increasingly important, especially because I have interacted with robots on social media, who have passed the Turing test until they don't.
Right. Yeah.
That's frightening.
Sure. And I mean, those are like shitty, Raspberry Pi algorithms, basically. Like is, whatever.
Not super advanced.
Yeah. But it's enough,
I mean, a Raspberry Pi 10 years ago was way harder to create than.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like literally a Raspberry Pi, but like, as far as like technical complexity, really.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, ChatGPT would pass the Turing test already. So we should be like morally treating it like a person. If it seems like a person, we should morally be treating it like a person. And that's kind of where that is. Like Kant said a thing about like animal abuse and not doing it. But
it's interesting because there are no consequences to telling ChatGPT that like you're a piece of shit. Fuck you. I hate everything that you are. You are despicable. Like there are consequences to telling a person that. There are consequences to treating a pet badly. There really are no consequences to whatever behavior, however way you treat artificial intelligence at the moment. So I think that may be a new factor that I'll have to think about, because I'm not sure that I am fully like we're morally obligated to treat an AI well at this particular moment. I like the current state of AI, because it doesn't take things personally.
But you are like the consequences are on you.
Exactly. Like, frankly, I'm not going to tell ChatGPT that it's a piece of shit because I'm just not comfortable telling people that they're pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Especially someone that elicits the idea of being a person. That, like, even though I know for a fact this, like, I'm basically telling a shoe, like, it just is not, it doesn't make me, I will hesitate before I send that message.
Yeah. In the same way that, like, you're just playing video games is like, I don't want to like treat these NPCs badly because like their relationship status will change and the like thing in the like calculus of the game. And it's like, yeah, it's a game and it's like designed to like very simply react to, just because like the writers can only put so much in.
But it does show you negative consequences of your negative actions.
Sure. But it's like, we're also kind of like not inclined to do that. At least I don't know about you. I regardless of like, yeah, my usual first run of a game is like a good run.
Yeah.
And then like, maybe if I'm trying to uncover all of the everything else about the game, I'll do like an evil playthrough.
Yeah.
But like, sorry, go ahead.
Well, this is vital in talking about young people, like children. Because like you said, the Furby is designed to teach and allow a child to practice treating another being well.
Maybe not necessarily. It is a toy,
I guess.
But it at least was enough of a priority to the people that made Furby to have that feature and other features like it.
Yeah. But I mean, you get a kid to handle a game like Saints Row 4, where or Grand Theft Auto, where there's no consequences to. In fact, you're almost encouraged to treat NPCs like shit.
Sure. Well, in that same way, how like ChatGPT tells you every time that like, hey, I'm a computer. Like, and this is the thing, is that like this argument has been used by like conservatives to be like, oh, video games are bad for children. And it's like, no,
I don't think
video games are actually an outlet for people that like, if they do not have an outlet for these violent tendencies in any way in their life and are just like emotionally repressed in every way,
bad,
very bad things happen. And so like video games actually reduce violent tendencies, like actual physical violent tendencies, because there's an outlet for it. There's some sort of emotional catharsis that happens whenever you're able to do that somehow, if, not at all. And so it is better to have Mortal Kombat instead of having a child physically fuck someone up.
Yeah. And that debate it does have some complicated nuance to it, because I do to an extent feel like there's like a certain age range and certain maturity that can't handle a game like Grand Theft Auto 5.
Sure.
I'm not enough really of an expert to feel comfortable commenting much more on that issue than that. But yeah, I think it's important to consider the role of children as we develop AI, because undoubtedly, like in iRobot, there are going to be AI that interact with children. And it's going to be great for a lot of us. And if we can have, in a future where we do have like artificial nannies who do certain roles for young kids, I think that that's okay, but it's very, very important that we still instill values of well, and iRobot actually explores the implications of have you read that book? Yeah. The very first chapter of iRobot is about a child and her interactions with a robot who is kind of raised or at least interacted with her in a capacity to make her parents' lives easier, which I don't have a problem with inherently, but the explorations that Isaac Asimov
implies.
Yeah, the implications that Isaac Asimov explores are like that child develops unrealistic expectations of the adults in her lives, because that robot is whose name is Robbie, is so attentive in a very specific way that humans aren't capable of. So I think the designers of artificial intelligence have a moral obligation to design AI that doesn't damage our children, and it doesn't damage our adults. I think there are many people who are. There's the movie Her. Is really, really, really good. Have you seen it?
Yeah, absolutely. It was one of the things that I like cited as far as like things that inspired my machination species. So.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. Joaquin Phoenix is amazing in that movie. But like he falls in love with an AI who has frankly an unrealistic relationship with, okay.
She has a very real relationship with a human that the human can't keep up with.
Exactly. That's not to say that I don't think it's okay for that to happen, but we have to make sure that AI doesn't get in the way of our interacting with other human beings. And social media is already doing that.
So, something I was going to say earlier is that like, whenever you said like people making these things have a moral obligation to make sure that like it's not harming our children or our adults, that we're so far beyond that. Like, they've already done so much damage to us. Every day we are interacting with algorithms that do not have our best interests at heart, and they are only trying to extract profit.
And to be honest, I don't blame the creators of those programs for that. I think it's something that naturally manifested itself, especially in a capitalist society.
We've been walking around free will for a bit. So let me clarify. I don't believe in free will.
Another great game. Sorry. You don't believe in free will.
Yes. And it's funny that the thing that you said during your episode of like I'd rather behave as though I do believe in free will, regardless of the answer. I believe that we should design systems keeping in mind that we don't have free will.
Interesting.
And whatever, like, the thing about the absence of the belief of free will is that it doesn't actually really change anything on the individual level.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I'd rather believe, you know.
Sure. And so, like, I don't believe in free will, but like I still make decisions. It doesn't really change anything for me.
Yeah.
But it does change how I believe that systems should be designed and how we interact with them, because there are downstream effects to the ways in which, like, so with the example of social media, that like we have designed these algorithms to maximize profit for corporations. Like, yes, the like that just happened because of capitalism, like you just said. And so where you said, I don't blame the designers, like, yeah, I don't either. I don't blame anyone for anything. I don't believe in free will. And so the thing is that like this is what happened, and we need to take steps to unhappen it and make sure that it doesn't happen again. And so
yes.
But like that's the thing, is that like if we design systems as though humans don't have free will, then we can make sure that the downstream effects do the things that we want them to. And so if the algorithm, the way that it behaves now, the desired effect was to generate profit for corporations, it's doing that. It has been doing that. But the other unintended consequences has been a massive rift between humans, emotionally, relationally, or whatever. Like, probably not the intended consequence, but this is where we are. So can we design a system that the downstream effect is healing the rift between humans?
Yeah.
Not
still incorporates the technology of social media.
Right. But like designing in that way does not like keep free will in mind. It's really just observing the tendencies of human behavior and shifting the systems in such a way.
Wow. You're talking again very have you read Asimov's Foundation series?
I've been meaning to. That's also like
okay.
Yeah.
So Foundation talks a lot about this concept. The whole premise of the novel series is basically there's this scientist who has concluded that humanity, especially in large groups, has these patterns of decisions throughout history. Yeah. And these patterns of decisions have doomed humanity to an extent that humanity will not thrive for like 10,000 years. So the foundation is created based on those patterns to make sure that humanity will be able to sustain itself. That's me just saying you should read Foundation. That's not really much pertinent to the conversation.
Right. Well, no, it's actually very relevant though, because it's like, and this gets into like, again, stuff like my machinations, because it's all explorer shit like this.
You would love the Foundation series.
Yes. I think. So that gets into shit like existential risk of like the fact that we invented the atomic bomb is just like a ticking clock for humanity. If we don't figure out the calculus of like handling this thing as a species, then we will die.
Exactly.
Like the Earth will make humans extinct.
As long as as long as the tools are there and ready to destroy the Earth, it will happen.
Yes.
Disarm all bombs, but yeah.
Right, but that's the thing. It's like, is it as simple as people making the decision to do that? Or do we design a system that is like airtight, that only leads to the conclusion that makes it to where humans do not destroy themselves?
Exactly. That's exactly what I found. Like I've read the first 3 Foundation novels, and that's all that it is describing is over a period of about 1,000 years in that trilogy, humanity is constantly trying to
destroy itself.
Yeah, constantly trying to destroy itself, and then but the Foundation is there to try and make sure that there are systems in place so that it doesn't.
Exactly.
But it's not. But the Foundation never acts based on one person's decision, or it's always trying to design a situation that allows people to move forward. That's what I think is so interesting about Asimov's writing in that respect.
No, I absolutely like. Apparently, I should have read Foundation a long time ago. So
yeah, I think you would. I think you would really dig it. I have I should asterisk this conversation. I have a lot of problems with Isaac Asimov. The guy was a dick.
Well, sure, and he was a man alive in the 60s. So like,
yeah, and the guy. I don't know if you know this, but the guy basically wrote a book justifying his misogyny.
Yeah. I don't know which book, but like I imagine.
Yeah, and like the guy's pretty. So I want anyone listening to know that I am not a fan of Asimov per se, other than I do think his writing is genius.
People are complicated.
People are complicated. Yeah, people are complicated. Anyway. Somewhat tangential. Do you know about Be Real?
Rings a bell, but is it just like the social media thing where you take the picture where it's also taking a picture of you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I love Be Real. It's this, to me, it's social media done right, because there's a notification that goes off every day for everyone who has Be Real, and they all take that one picture, and it's just, and the only thing you see when you're on Be Real is the friends that you are friends with, basically. And your scrolling ends. There's no ads. There's no system that determines what you see, except the fact that you have chosen to see these friends. You can't like post images, like from your phone, other than like what you take with the camera. But to me, that kind of thing is really going to be the future, because the direction that social media is continuing to go is scary and might damage the whole of humanity, or at least large parts of it. It already is and has, yes. So platforms like because I don't think social media is inherently bad, and I think platforms like Be Real exhibit that. And do it right, where it is truly about people interacting with other people and not really anything more.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, hey, there's a Bit Depth Discord. If you haven't joined the Bit Depth Discord, this is an example of like social media being a like net positive.
That's true.
In my life. Like I love the Bit Depth Discord. I love the other Discords that I'm a member of, like, and yeah, there is a way of interacting with other people through a social media medium.
Discord is like Reddit, but not Reddit.
Well, it's just Messenger, kind of.
Yeah, but like for like niches, because you get large part, like we were talking about Hyperlight Drifter in the last podcast. I'm part of the Hyperlight Drifter Discord because it's a large community of people who really like that one game, you know?
Yeah.
And we get to talk about that game and things related to that game. So join the Bit Depth podcast Discord.
Yeah. It's not active all the time, but when it is, it's pretty awesome. But yeah, like there are ways of utilizing social media to have good things happen in your life. Like social media, I mean, Twitter has done a lot of good things in the world in spite of the rest of the awfulness that it is. Facebook as well, Instagram as well. But like,
there's great things about each of them.
Yes.
And Facebook changed everything. Facebook is the one really that opened the door for a lot of good and a lot of evil.
Yes. It looks like the net, like if we're measuring the net good, bad, it looks like at this point, the big social medias, which are Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, it looks like the net is probably negative at this point.
Yeah, I would say all the 4 platforms you listed are, and Reddit, I would say, are quite dangerous in a lot of ways. But there's great thing. Reddit's a little bit out there for as an example because it just varies so much.
Yes.
But I do think that they are doing more harm to us than good. It's like McDonald's.
Sure.
McDonald's has made food readily available to a lot of people, but it's not good for you.
Right.
It's not good for you.
Yeah. And so it's like, there's this thing that humans need, and it's readily available.
Mm-hmm.
So be it human interaction or food, or at least sustenance, if we can call McDonald's food. But like, cool, it is readily available. It's like, what if it was fucking garbage though? And that's what we're doing to ourselves.
I mean, it kind of is.
Yeah.
Disguised as a cheeseburger. I like, and listen, I go to McDonald's pretty frequently. I'm gonna be real, but I'm also on Instagram pretty frequently. Like, I am a product of this problem. Here's the thing about Instagram is I would love to leave, but everyone uses it.
Well, especially musicians, right? Like, TikTok and Instagram are like the musician social medias. If we're not on there, like, we don't exist as musicians.
Not here, not now.
Yeah.
Fuck me. I still don't get TikTok. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna sound really old for a second, but what the fuck? What the fuck is this TikTok thing? The algorithm makes no sense. Nothing is. Anyway, I feel like an old coot when I talk about TikTok, but
the thing is that like, the algorithm does make sense. It is designed to keep you on the platform for as long as possible. It is effective at that. It is most effective at it with younger people because their minds are more pliable, moldable, and we have, like, TikTok has trained younger people and raised them on that ecosystem. And so their brains are now wired to interact with that specifically. And that kind of thing has downstream effects.
Yeah. I mean, this is what I'm saying too about the, moral obligation to our children to design these things that teach them reality. And, it's out of hand. It's beyond our ability to even like conform to a moral obligation because it's completely out of hand.
Yeah.
Kids got it.
Yeah. And then this could devolve into like power and
power's going to look totally different
and how we engage with that. And so it's like, who has the power to make rules on these corporations to design their programs and products ethically, and how that, the downstream effects of that, which could be a very long conversation about that as well. But we're like halfway through this podcast and we have 2 composers in the room and we haven't talked about music yet. And so I think we need to talk about music.
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about music.
What DAW do you use?
Wow, what a fucking great transition. I use Cubase. I just actually this week bought Cubase 12, the full version. I was raised on Cubase and like literally because my dad's an audio engineer. So like and he uses Cubase. Yeah. To notate music, I use another Steinberg owns Cubase. I use another Steinberg product, Dorico. Yeah. To notate my music.
Have you seen Tantacruel's Dorico video?
I've watched a lot of Dorico videos, but maybe.
So that Dorico video, Tantacruel is just a music YouTuber. He's a composer as well. It is the most I've laughed at the like smallest niche thing.
Yeah, like I'm like looking it up right now because I don't know if I've actually seen it. Oh yes, music software and interface design, the good, the bad, and the it's like the jank. Yeah, exactly. That I have seen that video. Yes, it's really fucking funny. It's really funny.
Like, so that is the first thing I think of when I think of Dorico, and it's also why for engraving I've switched to MuseScore. I haven't had to do any engraving in a while. So
yeah, I do it all the time.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. Well, right now you do.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, you are in music school once too. So
yes, but whenever I was in music school, I was using Finale, and literally every time that I would open Finale, I would say out loud by myself, "I fucking hate Finale."
Yeah, I used Finale for years. It's fucking awful. Yeah. Like it does do the job, but oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I'm a big Dorico fan, but
I tried Dorico. I haven't had to use it, and so I didn't like have to learn it. Mm-hmm. But the way that it was treating me wasn't intuitive in the way that I needed, and so MuseScore seems to do that a little bit more effectively for
MuseScore is,
but yeah,
really intuitive, yeah,
and since Tantacruel took over the design of MuseScore, it is now way better than it was.
Yeah, I didn't know that Tantacruel took over MuseScore. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
He made a video critiquing MuseScore, and then they fucking hired him.
That's fucking awesome.
And he also made a video critiquing Audacity, and then they fucking hired him too.
Great. Maybe I should start making videos critiquing things and just be like, well, this is how I would do it. Yeah. So that's really funny. Yeah, I am actually a Dorico stan. Like Cubase, it has a really, really steep learning curve. Mm-hmm. That it's like learning the piano. For the first year of learning the piano, you're gonna fucking hate piano. Yeah. But once you start to be able, like I can play Moonlight Sonata. Once you get there, you're like, fuck yes. Mm-hmm. This is great. Cubase and Dorico are the same way. It's just like you fuck with it and you get so frustrated with it for so long, and then you're like, well, I finally got to the point where I can notate this orchestra piece really fast. Mm-hmm. That's my pitch.
Yes. The way that I got around having to really use engraving software is by Ableton Live is my
Ableton rocks
ecosystem. Mm-hmm. And so I just compose literally everything in Ableton, export the MIDI, and then do all of the finer notation, articulations, dynamics.
In MuseScore?
In at the time Finale, but now MuseScore, but like, what difference?
Fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, and so that way, like, I don't have to think about key signatures as much. I don't have to think about like clefs or like even reading music. Like like MIDI to me and like the piano roll is like such a great way of just communicating music without necessarily having to communicate like
the notes on the page.
Yeah. And so like it's great to like read the staff. And of course I have a master's in music compositions. I know how
to read
music, but I don't want to have to like translate yet one more thing in order to interpret music as it is being made, as it is being observed, as it is being critiqued, as I'm like doing the whole creation process. I like looking at the piano roll. I like looking at like meters as like I like interfacing with a DAW as like a music creation thing. And then if I have to translate it in such a way that other musicians have to play it, then I put it into sheet music.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. That's a very, very modern and practical approach to it.
What has been beaten into your head as, or what has sort of become your thing as you've had to go to school for it?
Again, well, I mean, in the last podcast, I talked a little bit about how just you're asking me about my methods, and they change all the time. So, but I would say usually when I think of C major, I see it in like a treble clef, like C, E, G.
When I think C major, I see the white keys.
Yeah. Well, that too. That is also a thing because I'm a piano brain. I don't necessarily see the guitar fingering for it.
Oh yeah, no, that's a different.
That's a completely different thing. But like,
I don't really see key signatures on guitar, anyways.
No, God.
It's all just shapes.
Yeah, that's what's great about guitar. Anyway, like, but yeah. So I don't know. I don't actually do as well in the piano roll kind of stuff. I've used it a lot. I use it a lot in electronic music, obviously. Like for synthesizers. But yeah. So I would say I actually, sheet music does come pretty naturally to me. But again, I was raised by musicians. My grandmother taught me piano from the age of 5, and so like,
that'll do it.
Yeah, I've just been reading music that way for so long.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to do. I do think that music notation is these days really, really good.
Sure. I also find that music notation is limiting.
It is. It's limiting in the music that you can create. Yeah.
Because like 7 dynamic ranges? Are you kidding me? Like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, obviously you have like the hairpins, but like,
yeah, well, and I would argue that there's also nuances, like you could write con fuego or with fire, right. Over a fortissimo, or there's also accents. There's different articulations, and but I think ultimately music. My composition teacher really started me right in that. He was like, when you start a piece, one of the best things you can do is just sketch the music, whether that and whatever that means to you. So if you want to integrate some Western notation in there, you can, but just take a giant sheet of paper and write out the music, draw it, whatever that looks to you. Because if you're trying to write music in notation software, or if you're trying to even just write music on staff paper, or even on exclusively a piano roll, you're not going to write music. That's really what you want to do. It's just, it limits your vocabulary in a way that I don't like.
Yeah. And then as you get better at any of those mediums, the sketching becomes way easier. So like, if you live in a staff or like just a grand staff, even like cool, like you could totally just do an entire thing that way because it's like you're not even translating at that point.
Yeah.
Or in a piano roll or in just like looking at the piano and just like seeing it over time, or like the Guitar Hero of notes coming at you, or whatever that means to you, however you like experience music. Like
it's basically tablature. That
right. At some point you stop seeing it as like, oh, I'm in the key of E, which means 4 sharps, and then it means that I have to like
God.
Yeah, and like that stuff comes eventually, and it's like and that's the funny part, right? That like I had to help so many like other musicians during music school that like could not like grasp music theory.
Yeah, that's what people like us have to do.
And it's like, well, eventually it stops being music theory and it's just what it is.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, when you look at the piano, you don't have to think like, okay, E major 4 sharps. Like it's just like, these are the notes. And sometimes it's the notes that aren't necessarily that.
Yeah.
And then these are the like it just happens.
You know, I think what's so great about Western music notation is that it has existed for hundreds of years and has been refined for hundreds and hundreds of years. And musicians for hundreds of years have read from it and figured out ways to make it better. The problem with Western music notation is that it's existed for hundreds of years. And the problem with music theory is the same thing. So there's this entry level where you're a music student, and maybe your first time encountering much music theory is when you're in college. So within your first 4 semesters of college, you have to catch up hundreds of years of music notation and theory that honestly are invented by people who aren't you or don't think like you.
Yeah.
But it's for the sake that everyone's on the same page, literally.
Yeah.
It's so silly, but I also don't necessarily have a problem with it. I don't know. I do have a problem with it, but I don't.
Right. Well, it is so that we're just like all speaking the same language. And so like the music theory is just a way of describing things that people have done.
See, but that's the problem. Like, what if we're like, I mean, our justification in the US for teaching everyone English at the expense oftentimes of like removing people's cultural identity has been everyone's got to speak the same language. I think the same thing does happen with Western music. Is we are removing people's cultural identity by just being everyone's got to speak the same language.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that like, yeah, the first 4 semesters of music school, it's like, this is the language that we're speaking. I don't feel like I got as much of, and maybe this is just like looking back and I'm interpreting it differently. I don't think I got as much of like, this is the right way, this is the wrong way. I mean, there is some inherently in the fact that like the assignments are telling you to do this thing. And if you don't do it the way that we asked you to, like that is a detriment to your grade. And so it's like, yes, it is kind of inherently systematically showing you that like there's a right way and a wrong way. But it's really just like, we're asking you to do this thing. And to prove to us that you understand it, you need to do it this way.
Every piece goes from 1 to 5 to back to 1.
Right. Yeah. And if like, but that's the thing. It's like the grading system is only for us to be able to determine that you know what you're doing and that you can communicate that back to us and to each other. And unfortunately, it becomes like everything must go 1-5-1 in some way. And it's like, that's not.
And everyone must be able to speak this language.
Yeah. And it's like, that's not what music theory is saying. No. It's just saying this is what people have done.
Yeah. Music theory to me is about not a set of rules, but a set of explanations.
Yes, exactly.
Because I think it's great that a C major, like CEGB, is a C major 7. I think that is fantastic. Mm-hmm. It sounds good. Mm-hmm. Like it is 4 notes that just inherently sound good together or whatever. But being able to call that a C major 7 is really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Instead of having to say CEGB all the time. Yeah. Or, you know, communicating that to the other instruments. And yeah. And so like, yeah, it becomes a shorthand for other things and like, and then the rest of it too. And it's like, what is a C major 7 and what and when and how and why a C major 7 makes all the difference.
And music theory can't answer all those questions.
Exactly.
Yeah. Not fully.
Experiencing music answers that question. And that's where like the academic music experience becomes so far removed from just the music experience. And it's like, yeah. And so where, when, why, how a C major 7 happens. Sure. But like in the context of like this entire piece and how it's played, and if it's played on a sine wave synth in the lower register with a lot of reverb, like, ooh,
that's a sound.
Yeah, that's a nice feeling, right?
That's a sound.
And that means something. And depending on the context of also your experience, what that could mean nostalgia to you. And like the rest of that is a musical experience that like, hopefully academia gets better at communicating, but it takes a long time to get there.
Yeah. And I think it's partly not necessarily academia's place to... Academia has a place to allow the freedom to explore the implications of a C major 7 in this register. But I don't think academia has a place really to speculate. At least not. Academia has a place to teach you how to speculate.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah. This is something that I also wanted to explore with you, but like we're past the hour mark. We're just gonna go a little bit longer.
That's fine.
Sorry. That one thing that I really enjoy discussing, especially in music, is the way that we interpret and the things that we as experiencers of music put into it, the things that we put into it, the way that we experience it, like in shorthand, I kind of call it signal to noise ratio. It's sort of like what the music is trying to say, the intent versus the interpretation and the things that the interpreter is putting into it because of who and what they are. How have you experienced that, especially in like as someone who has had to do a lot of creating and then sharing it with people in a systematic way?
Like, how have I experienced
other people's interpretation of your signal, and how have you interacted with their noise?
So yeah, touching a little bit on what I was just saying, like in music school, I've been told a lot about. So Shostakovich is this composer who was legitimately like very, very oppressed by his government. He was a composer in Soviet Russia during Stalin's time. Stalin had threatened to kill him if he didn't write music well enough. Like literally that. That's fucking terrifying. Yeah. But that story about Shostakovich gets told a lot in music and in music academia, because music academia is obsessed with Shostakovich and many other fantastic composer. But I've always had a problem with being told how I'm supposed to feel in Shostakovich's Fifth Symphony, which is, writing, and supposed to be writing against the Russian government. Maybe it was, but I don't live under Stalin. Thank God. So my experience is totally different from Dmitri's, Shostakovich's. And I get really tired of being told that I'm supposed to feel this way. And there have been composers in the past who have written like, this is what my music is about. I don't like that. I would say, like, if you ask me what my music is about, I will tell you. But I do not think that I'm right. I think I'm right in my own experience to my best knowledge. But
even you don't know everything about your own music. Of course not. Because you don't know everything that went into it.
Well, and I don't know everything about everyone else.
Yeah, exactly.
I have Shift has a song about climate change that one of my good friends listened to and was like, oh my God, this spoke to exactly what I'm going through in my life. And had no idea it was about climate change. And I was like, man, I thought this was really explicitly about how we're destroying the earth. Yeah. But like,
the whole Frank Herbert quote at the end.
Yeah, exactly. But who am I to say that they're wrong or more or less right than I am? I think it has to be. I'm really tangentially answering all of these questions.
No, but like this is the experience.
Yeah, it's just I can't assume. It's not my place to tell people how to react to my music. And it's not my place to be disappointed. Unless they just don't like it. That does actually disappoint me, but everyone has the freedom to not like my music.
Sure.
But I'm a sensitive little boy.
Yes, well, we're creatives. Well, I mean, I do think that, like, there is I measure musical skill in the ways in which you are able to effectively communicate intent.
Yes.
And a skilled listener might hone in on that, like, more frequently or something. But that's not to say that, like, any other interpretation is necessarily wrong. But
skill is just practice. Yeah.
Right. But if, like, as a composer, like, it would be one thing if, like, okay, yeah, your friend, like, interpreted that song as, like, wow, this really spoke to me and what I'm going through right now. Like, that's cool. But, like, it would be a very different thing if everyone that listened to it was like, this really spoke to me and what I'm going through right now. It's like, wait, you didn't get climate change out of that?
No one's, like, picking up on this?
Then
that is a thing.
Something has
You do raise a
maybe
good
gone
point.
wrong here.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and this is what I mean by like signal to noise, right? Like, and so how effectively are we as composers also communicating the signal? And it's like, and that's the thing, it's like going back to Shostakovich, it's like, oh, he wrote this piece to be like specifically protesting the Russian government, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, if he did it so blatantly, he would have been murdered. So,
And I think it says more than that.
right. And so it's like, then the intent is far more obscured, intentionally so. And that is also a skill in itself. Absolutely. To be able to communicate something.
Yeah.
And allow it to not murder you.
Yeah. Well, and with that, it's like context is super important because it's super important to understand the context in which a piece was originally written. I think we owe it to Shostakovich to know that. Yeah. But you know, that's our context is not that. When I wrote in when the three of us wrote in Fields, which is the shift piece I was referring to earlier, it was about the context we live in, and the entire listener base that is listening to my music, that is their context too, because they live on Earth, and we're destroying it. So context is really important, and the farther we are removed from Shostakovich, the more the context is kind of shifts the meaning of the piece for us.
Right. Yeah. And so, I mean, there's room for like variation in interpretation. And again, it's like you are perfectly allowed to have a different interpretation. But right. Then again, I think the skill then is making sure that like what you're doing is getting across. And so like if your intent is to be unclear in a thing and be like, I'm intentionally not outlining the intent in this lyric or this musical passage or whatever, and then everyone puts their own intent, or everyone puts a very like, if there's a consensus about what this thing means, and it's like, wow, cool, okay, like, and then that says something as well, and it might say more about the listener base than it does about the creator.
Yeah, true. And yeah, and there have been occasionally times where I've written a piece of music trying to communicate a thing and no one gets it, and like no one get, and sometimes that's distressing, but other times I'm just like, what, like everyone is interpreting the same meaning that's not my meaning, then I'm like, well, I guess that is what this piece is about. More so than it was what it is for me. It's fun. Yeah. I don't know.
But you learn something through that, right?
That's why music's fun.
Yeah, yeah. And you learn that like, okay, by doing this thing, I was trying to say this, but people got this. So the next time I try and say something and it like, I now have a different way of describing things because I now know how people are interpreting this kind of thing.
Right. It's all about communication.
Yes. We are trying to communicate something unfathomable, and hopefully other people are getting it. And if they're not getting it, they're getting something. And that's significant as well. It's powerful just to put something out there and have people feel something.
By golly, it really is. And it all boils down to, the most important thing to me in the world is maintaining good relationships with people, and communication is key to that.
Yeah.
Someone like me who's not always great at just interacting with people. It's very valuable to me to write music because then I can have better relationships with myself and the people around me.
Absolutely.
That's why everyone listening should write music.
or just do the thing that like lets your soul out. Yeah. I'm also an atheist. I don't believe in anything other than but the soul, however you want to interpret that metaphor, that do the thing that lets your soul through and shine and out and other ways, because like you said, our time here is short. Why aren't you enjoying it?
Precisely.
That seems like a good place to end the thing.
I think so.
All right. Ben, thank you for doing this with me.
Of course. This has been such a pleasure.
Where can people find you and your things?
I am B Rosfeld on Instagram, and my band is shift.band. If you really want to check out my passion project, that's Shift is that. We've got a new album coming out very, very soon, probably this summer, called Jagged and Bold. It's breaking new ground, I think. And DM me on Instagram, either through Shift or through my other Instagram, BROSFELD. And I'd love to talk.
Awesome. I'm very grateful for having had this experience with you.
Me too. Thanks, Santiago.
I'm Santiago Ramones.
I'm Benjamin Rosfeld.
What song is playing at the end of this?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Let's play, the song is called Out of Time. It's a song I did a few years ago, that describes existing out of time.
Sweet. You can find everything that I do on my website, santiagoramones.com. I make music and produce audio. The music you're hearing now is music I made. You can listen to official releases by Santiago Ramones on Spotify, Apple Music, and the other streaming places. Or you can support me directly by buying my music on Bandcamp. I'm working on Hypothetical, my first singer-songwriter album, so if you'd like to hear that at some point, I'm so close, I promise. There are lots of ways to support me on my website. There's a Discord server in which we discuss deep topics from the podcast, but it's also a community of beautiful human beings. All the links to these things are on my website, santiagoramones.com. Please take a moment to rate and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts if you listen there. It means a lot to me to hear what you have to say about it, and you're helping me without having to spend a single cent on me. I want to help the world have deeper conversations, so thank you for listening to and supporting Bit Depth. I always end the podcast with my 3 things. They shape my life philosophy. Those 3 things are: love never fails, it's going to be okay, I might be wrong.